My name is Glenn Carle. I'm a retired CIA operations or field officer.
That the CIA provided Colin Powell, the former Secretary of State, some wrong information about Iraq, and he later admitted that, and he said that was a major failure. And the result was the destruction of the country. What is the CIA story of that, and what is their responsibility?
But that's an issue that I lived firsthand, actually, the issue of Iraqi sanctions and the run-up to the Iraq invasion by the United States. And it's true our information was wrong, and what the CIA gave to Colin Powell was wrong, and in the end the cases proved to be catastrophic in its consequences. However, it is not correct to say that the CIA, was providing essentially disinformation intentionally to Colin Powell. I did work on Iraqi sanctions issues at the time, and I believed that it was proven that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction programs. Now, we know he did, and we found that he had been cheating. This is in the early and mid-90s. What it turns out, so I then saw literally almost rooms full of reports substantiating that. What we didn't know, and only learned after the invasion, was that the sources that we had were themselves wrong, but believed themselves to be right. That Saddam Hussein told even his closest advisors that he continued to have a nuclear and weapons of mass destruction capability because he wanted the Iranians to know and to think that he was stronger than he was. In the end, it tragically turned out that that was his undoing. But the CIA didn't intentionally provide disinformation to Colin Powell. We were wrong.
What do you think about the influence of the Israeli intelligence in the American intelligence community?
Well, I've worked with Israelis. I've worked with many different countries, and the Israelis and the United States, as allies, reach agreements. Now, you could say this is there honor among thieves, I suppose, meaning that intelligence services are thieves. But the agreement is a pledge not to conduct intelligence operations against the other. Now, that's honored and it's not honored. All intelligence services will serve their national interests. So it's not a surprise that the Israelis attempt to influence American opinion and American policies. That's their job. I don't accept that Likud or Tel Aviv or now Jerusalem pulls the strings entirely on the United States government, but that they attempt to influence us is certain. That they have some success is certain. That they are not in control is also certain. It's clear that Saudi Arabia has been quite successful in convincing Jared Kushner and Donald Trump, at the least, so therefore the United States government now, to align American policies with those of Saudi Arabia and the Sunni. The historic shift in American policy under Obama was to change America's historic identification strategically with the Sunni in the Middle East to a position of greater neutrality, if not pro-Shia, certainly not siding always with Saudi Arabia and the Sunni. Donald Trump has completely reversed that and has identified U.S. policy and U.S. interests more strongly with Saudi Arabia, possibly than since 1945. So projecting Donald Trump's picture on the side of a building when he went to Riyadh or Jeddah seems to have been very successful for MBL. I imagined before I started, and I think the average person will imagine, that you should be like a used car salesman and you can slap anyone on the shoulder and you try to sell something aggressively. That's not really true. You want to be convincing, of course, but what counts in intelligence is an appreciation for ambiguity and the ability to thrive, to be at ease in confusion, and doubt and fog, and yet to be able to act independently. And that's an impossible circumstance to be in, but that, or a task to achieve, but that's the profile that makes, for any country, an ideal intelligence officer.